What up, YouTube? Cam that guy here, back once again with another YouTube video. So in this YouTube video, I'm about to be explaining middle school years, right? Middle school years. Never got into the middle school years of my life on this YouTube channel, right? Never got into the middle school years of my life on this YouTube channel, right? So that's what I'm getting ready to do right now today. You know what I'm saying? I talked a little bit about sixth grade. And I obviously talked about high school, right? I obviously talked about high school. I talked about the public high school, right? I already talked about that. I already talked about the jobs. I did a lot of talking on jobs. I talked a little bit about the high school. I gave enough information about the high school. Never got into the high school. I got bullied at because, that's bad times. Like, I don't really want to tell stories about that. So I'm going to talk about middle school before I went to those high schools I got bullied at. I want to talk about the middle school experience. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to talk about and shit. This is gonna be a one-time video. It's not gonna be like different parts and sections. I'm gonna try to finish this all in one video. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna try to remember the best I can and give out as much knowledge as I can about this. So here we go. Middle school. You know what I'm saying? So I already told a little bit about the sixth grade. You know what I'm saying? That video where I was wearing a suit. I told a little bit about what happened. Never went into detail and shit. So, but I'm gonna explain that video in a separate. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do a part two to that one. I want to explain seventh through ninth grade. Right? I want to explain this middle school in particular. So here we go, man. I got lots of other stories to tell on this channel. Like I said, I'm gonna tell stories about family members, some more personal experiences, all that shit in between. You know what I'm saying? So there's lots of stories that I have in store for this YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? But everything is to be determined. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, look. You know what I'm saying? Here we go, man. So I get into the YouTube side. You know what I'm saying? I get into the YouTube side of this. So we're gonna begin like this. I mean, the middle school side of this, the middle school side of this story. So I'm gonna begin like this. So when I was in middle school and shit, I went to this new school, right? It's this new private school, it's small and shit. It was a daycare and a private school, right? It was a daycare and a private school. So it's a daycare and a school. There was a daycare in the front, school in the back. You know what I'm saying? So when you first come in, I think I forgot. I'm not sure if you had to check in on that. I don't think you did, but it was like a bunch of babies and shit. You walk around, there's babies all over the place. It smell like baby daycare, like it's a straight daycare. You know what I'm saying? So you walk around and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's daycare and shit. Then after that, you know what I'm saying, you get more into the school part, which is kind of further back in the building. And then beyond that, the school is officially in the back. You know what I'm saying? So my seventh grade year, the high schoolers, they were in the daycare part. There was this empty room. There was only like four high schoolers, right? They was in this empty room within the daycare, but they would be sometimes in the back building or they'll do other stuff around the school to help out and shit, right? I was in middle school and shit, so the middle schoolers had their own room, and then the elementary schoolers had their own room, right? Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's how it went. You know what I'm saying? So here, and some of the elementary school was with the middle school. You know what I'm saying? Because the middle school wasn't big enough, so some elementary students, like in the higher rankings, were with the middle schoolers, and then some of the elementary was in the other room. So anyway, let's begin with this. So seventh grade year, I was new and shit. Everything kind of flowed naturally. I would say I went to this school and shit. Seventh grade year. I started talking well with people. You know what I'm saying? There was, it's a mixture of races in the school. It wasn't just a straight white school. You know what I'm saying? When I shadowed there, it was a little bit of a white. I did shadow at this school, just test it out before I came and shit. And when I shadowed there, it was like there was only like I think two black people. All the rest of them were whitish, some shit. You know what I'm saying? So it was interesting. I was like, I'm not too fond of this. You know what I'm saying? I want to, even though as a black person, you kind of want to be around your kind. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that in a racist way or anything like that, but back when I was younger, I was like, I would feel more comfortable if there was like a couple more black people here. You know what I'm saying? That's basically was my mindset, right? Which it was, you know what I'm saying? Seventh grade year, way more black people came. You know what I'm saying? So I felt more comfortable in my environment and shit. But when I shadowed there, it was like nothing but white people. So it was kind of like, yeah, man. But anyway, 7th grade year come along, you know what I'm saying? And I'm there and shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting introduced. I have a teacher and shit. I remember this teacher, right? She was an okay teacher, you know what I'm saying? She taught me well, you know what I'm saying? She taught me good English, you know what I'm saying? She tried her best to teach me math and shit. I think my best math teacher was senior year. My senior year, that was the best math teacher I ever had. But she taught me pretty well. Like, she was a solid teacher. Like, she had knowledge and shit. But she really taught me well. She taught me well overall, you know what I'm saying? She was a solid teacher, you know what I'm saying? She was a good teacher and shit. She was understanding and shit like that, all that shit in between. You know what I'm saying? She was solid and shit. Looking back on the past, she was a solid teacher, you know what I'm saying? I had the principal's daughter, you know what I'm saying? I had the principal in my 8th grade year. She was my teacher in the 8th grade year, right? But 7th grade year, I had the principal's daughter. She was my teacher, right? And the principal's daughter, you know what I'm saying? She, you know what I'm saying, she was a good teacher. Like, she was solid and shit, you know what I'm saying? You know, and sometimes we'll do fun activities and shit. She was a typical middle school teacher. She's a typical middle school lady teacher. That's what she is, right? You know what I'm saying? And she had a little bit of patience with me and shit. So, but anyway, you know, we was introducing ourselves. We stand up and shit. We introduce ourselves. You know what I'm saying? All that other shit. That's what we was doing and shit. So, I don't remember exactly how the beginning of the year was. So, I'm kind of going to skip ahead into stuff I remember, right? So, stuff I remember, I sat by this girl, you know what I'm saying? She was a grade higher than me. She was smart as fuck. You know what I'm saying? This girl I sat by was smart as shit. You know what I'm saying? Never really asked her for help because I didn't want to pester her. I didn't want to bother her all the time. But I sat by this girl who was smart, and if I did need help, I believe I asked her. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to really ask her a lot because, you know, but we talked and shit. We had good conversations and shit. I did ask for help, but like I said, I didn't want to pester her. We talked and shit. She was nice. You know what I'm saying? We had good conversations, all that in between. You know what I'm saying? Never had any problems with this girl ever at school. You know what I'm saying? I had a couple problems with other girls there. It wasn't no big, like, I didn't have problems, but you know, like, there was like an issue type shit. I'm gonna get into that to the later on in the video. Never had problems with this girl, and I never had problems with no girls there. You know what I'm saying? I want to make that very clear. You know what I'm saying? But what I mean is, like, you know, like, this girl kind of felt some type of way about me and shit. I'm gonna explain that later on in the video, but as far as this person I sat by her for a long ass time, no problem, right? And there was other kids in the shit, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know what I'm saying? There was this guy, right? Let me tell you this guy. Let me get into the students. I already talked about my teacher. Let me get into the students and shit. So there was this guy, right? He was kind of like my buddy and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was funny as fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was funny and shit, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, he was kind of like crazy, you know what I mean? But he was really funny, knew how to talk and shit, joke around and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was the funniest person in the school. You know what I'm saying? He was the funniest person in the school. It go him, then me. I was second. He was the funniest person in the school. He had good energy and shit, you know what I'm saying? He was fun to be around just because he'll make you laugh and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? And honestly, he brought the best out of me, you know what I'm saying? Like, he made me funnier, you know what I'm saying? He made me tell good jokes and shit, you know what I'm saying? You know, if you be around a funny person, they might bring the best out of you and shit like that, you know what I mean? So he brought the best out of me, I would say. I was saying nice jokes and shit, telling good shit and all that other shit. He was nice to talk to. He had a whole bunch of siblings, right? He had like a pack of siblings, right? You know what I'm saying? All his siblings were cool. I didn't have a problem with none of his siblings, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have a problem with him. You know, so I got along with everybody out of this school. I just want to say I didn't get a problem with no guys or girls. I got along well with everybody. I just want to say that. You know what I mean? I want y'all to understand my point of view. I don't want y'all to have an issue with nobody. You know what I'm saying? But his other sibling, right? He was about a year younger than him, right? He was a little bit weird, you know. So he was a little bit weird and shit, but he was nice to talk to and shit. You know what I'm saying? He was cool and shit. He was a straight football player. You know what I'm saying? Like he had hands. Like he had hands. Like he could catch. You know what I'm saying? He could catch and shit. You know what I'm saying? I can't really catch like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really a catcher and shit, but he got hands and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, you know what I mean? But you know, um, all that other shit. You know what I mean? Then they had a younger sibling. He was cool and shit. I like talking to him and shit. They had a sister and shit. She was cool and shit. I like talking to her and shit. You know what I'm saying? She was alright and shit. You know what I mean? Like I was talking to her and shit. She was cool. She liked me. You know what I'm saying? She liked me and shit. But I wasn't interested in her at this time. Because at this time when I was in middle school, I didn't reach my puberty stage. You know what I'm saying? I didn't reach my puberty stage. Like I didn't hit puberty yet. You know what I'm saying? I didn't hit that puberty stage to be interested in girls and shit. So I just simply wasn't interested in her just because I was young and shit. I looked at her more as like, somebody just to be cool with, somebody just to like talk to, you know what I'm saying? But she was like kind of flirting with me. It made me uncomfortable. At this time, I wasn't mature enough to go about that situation. You know what I mean? There was her and shit. Then they had the older siblings. Let's speak on the older siblings. This one guy, you know what I'm saying? He was a little bit weird, you know what I'm saying? But he was alright to talk to and shit. And then they had the oldest one. He talked a lot. He kept trying to talk to me and shit. I didn't really like all that shit, you know what I'm saying? But he was okay to talk to and shit, all that other shit. You know what I mean? And then let me speak on some. I'm gonna speak on this other guy, and then that's gonna be it. So this other guy here, right? Um, he, you know what I'm saying? He was cool and shit. He had long hair and shit. He was cool and shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is a solid guy I was talking to, right? You know what I'm saying? He was a solid acquaintance. You know what I'm saying? I would say seventh and a little bit of eighth grade year. He was solid and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, more so eighth grade. I think more of eighth grade year, we connected more, especially when students left because of this thing I'm getting to mention later on in this video and shit. But we connected well and shit. You know what I'm saying? We connected well and shit. We talked and shit. He was cool and shit. He was nice to talk to, and we had good conversations. Like everybody in the school, me and him had the best conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like we had good convos. But other people that I didn't really talk to as much as him, as far as like having a good delivery conversations and shit. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty much the students. Which I'm not gonna describe every student there. I just want to describe, you know what I'm saying, the marquee students and shit that I talked to and shit. You know what I mean? So anyway, you know what I'm saying? To get into it, you know what I'm saying? Let's get into some stories, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into some stories. So seventh grade year, I want to talk about some shit. So I want to talk about this time, seventh grade year. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, and it was this group of girls. They love One Direction. You know what I'm saying? They like the band One Direction. I'm like, these girls love One Direction for some reason. You know, so One Direction was popping back in the day. You know what I'm saying? That's a band and shit. These girls liked them and shit. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I think they got good voices and shit, but it was like crazy for them. Like, it was like insane for them. Like, the way they was talking about these boys, it was off the wall. It was not regular, you know what I mean? But these girls, they was cool and shit, you know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be. Typical girls around the age and shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, one more thing. One more thing. The principal also had daughters that students there as well. The principal had daughters of students there as well. The students, her daughters were nice to me, but one of them was more nicer to me than the other one. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, overall, you know what I'm saying? Her daughters were nicer to me versus the principal. The principal, I mean, she was nice to me and shit. You know what I'm saying? She did her job and shit, but it was like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really like her. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't really like her, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna get into that later on in this video and shit, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's go ahead and begin with um I wanna begin with activities there as far as what I did. I wanna begin on this novel, right? This is interesting. I read this book there called Spirit Bear, right? This is the only book I remember reading there at this time. You know what I'm saying? This is the only book I remember to this date. You know what I'm saying? That I read. This was the most interesting book I read in my life. Because this is the only book I remember throughout all my years of living on this planet. This is the only novel I remember. I read novels in high school. I don't remember them shits. And I read some novels in middle school. I don't remember them shits. And in elementary. I don't remember no novels. The only novel I remember is simply This one. It was called Spirit Bear, right? The main character, his name was Cole. He was a delinquent. He went to juvie and shit. He got in trouble and shit. Fought people and shit. All that other shit. And they had a thing in this book called Circle of Justice. You know what I'm saying? This is what they had inside the book Spirit Bear. And we did that in the classroom. It's called Circle of Justice. And we would talk and explain our feelings about the school and what is going on and shit. But they had this in this book. I really recommend this book for high schoolers. Look, I seriously recommend this book for any high schooler out there. I seriously recommend they like if you're a teacher and if you're watching this, recommend to read Spirit Bear in one part of your semester for the kids. I would really do that. Like this is an interesting book. You know what I'm saying? Like recommend this book for your students if you're a teacher. Like for the next semester, get ready to come up to the closing semester, recommend this book, Spirit Bear. You know what I'm saying? This is a really nice book. But anyway, we read this book and shit. I like this book, you know what I'm saying? It was nice as shit. I remember some shit, cool shit that happened. Nice ass book. I felt I needed to mention that in this video, but they taught me good language skills, you know what I'm saying? Good English and shit, good math, good science and shit. All that shit in between. But what I mostly took from that school was English. That's what I mostly took. I mostly took language from that school. As far as like history and science and shit, science I took more from high school. You know what I'm saying? Even that school I got bullied from and shit, I took more science from there. And as far as history, I took that more from the high school as well. So the only thing I got from language wise is from middle school. Like good ass language teacher, you know what I'm saying? She must have had a degree in that shit. You know what I mean? But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Learn it well and shit, you know what I'm saying? Um and I'm just naturally have good language skills and shit. But anyway, I was born naturally good at English. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? She taught me and shit, you know what I'm saying? All that other shit. So let's get into scenarios. Let's get into scenarios, you know what I'm saying? I kind of had to lay down the foundation. Let's get into scenarios and shit. I want to tell a few stories that I can remember that happened 7th grade year. So, few stories I have in 7th grade year. Man, this is so long ago, you know what I'm saying? I really don't remember. So, what I'm actually going to get ready to do is move around, you know what I'm saying? I'm 17 minutes into this video. I don't want to make this video too long. So, let me go ahead and move into 8th grade year, right? I'm going to tell this story real quick, and I'm going to move on more and more and more, right? So, let's get into 8th grade year. Right? I want to tell this story that happened 8th grade year. This is when it first iced in Tallahassee in a while, right? It was little icicles on the road and shit. School was supposed to be closed and shit, but they ended up having school anyway. So what ended up happening, according to what they told me, you know what I'm saying, was uh the guy I was telling you that was funny, right? His mom was crazy and ghetto, you know what I'm saying? She would hit the kids. I saw her punch her son live in action at one of my old schools because we ended up meeting again at our school. She sucker punched his ass and he took that shit. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I can have like just shoot. I mean, he got punched like right here, my nigga, right here, like bah. You know, so I'm like, man, she wanted them type of moms. You know what I'm saying? Like she bout that shit. You know, she wanted them type of moms. You know what I'm saying? So that's what she did to him in front of everybody in the classroom, like in front of all the students and shit. I almost bust out laughing. I'm like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm gonna explain the story with her. Nobody liked her. You know what I'm saying? She was really ghetto, really rude. You know what I'm saying? But she was one of them type of black mothers that, you know what I'm saying, kind of just is like that. You know what I'm saying? She's an old school black mom, right? So she came in one day, you know what I'm saying? She was complaining about how cold it was. And then, she started talking to the principal and shit. They ended up getting into an argument or some shit. This, that, and the third. She ended up spazzing out, you know what I'm saying? All that other shit, you know what I'm saying? She was just crazy. She was just going crazy. She was just complaining and shit. All this other shit. The principal said to her, look, if you don't leave, I'm going to have to withdraw your kids. I'm going to have to take your kids out of school. You know what I'm saying? And all that other shit. She still stood there. Then the principal said, I'm about to, release your kids from the school. You can't come back here no more. You're too crazy and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what ended up happening, right? So the kids got released. She never came back. She did come back one time. She came back one time because she was trying to she had to go sign a release form or something. She had to go sign something, right? And she wanted to give the kids stuff because we ended up getting points, right? We had a hand with points, you know what I'm saying? So if we be really good in the classroom, we get points, and we get enough points, we can get gifts and shit. We had a nice ass system, you know what I'm saying? We had a nice system and shit, but it was kind of like, you know what I mean? There was problems with the school. I'm gonna get into later on in the video, but I want to explain more key moments of the school. So anyway, she ended up coming in and shit, all this other shit, right? And on the same day, this teacher pushed the student against the wall. You know what I'm saying? It was this teacher apparently. Oh, let me speak on her. She was nice and shit, really nice to me and shit. We got in a couple moments and shit. You know what I'm saying? But she was nice as shit. And she was from Africa, according to her. You know what I'm saying? That's where she's from and shit. But she didn't sound African at all. She sounded American, right? But anyway, she was nice and shit. You know what I mean? And she was actually we actually read that book Spirit Bearer with each other and shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? She wasn't my language teacher or nothing like that, but we did this with her as part as like just this was part of my language and shit. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, my language teacher was the other one. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you know what I mean? But anyway, she ended up pushing this kid against the wall because he's bad as fuck. This kid always be bad, always cry. This kid be cussing and shit. This kid be cussing around other kids and shit. And she pushed the kid against the wall because he being bad and shit. You know what I'm saying? So he got pushed against the wall. She got fired because of that. You know what I'm saying? And all that other shit. You know what I mean? So a teacher got fired this day. Kids got released this day. So people got cussed out and shit. All that shit in between, you know what I'm saying? So that was just a bad scenario. And I think the kid got suspended too, because that kid was being bad. I think the kid hit her or some shit. I think the kid hit her or some shit like that. It was a crazy day. Crazy day. First time snowing in Tallahassee in a while. This shit ended up happening, right? But, you know, that's what ended up happening on this day back in 2013, right? You know, so all this shit happened, right? And once, you know, they left and shit, I'm like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? These people that I normally talk to end up leaving. Like, what am I gonna do? Like half the classroom left. It was dumb. And it was the kid that ended up getting pushed to the wall. Some of their people left too. I talked to some of them and shit. Like I said, I'm not finna describe everybody in this video because I gotta get ready to wrap up this video and shit. But that's what ended up happening and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, you know what I'm saying? These kids ended up leaving and shit. You know what I mean? So it was like, man, you know what I'm saying? This is interesting and shit. So, you know what I'm saying? It was a new environment and shit. So I ended up getting new seating, all this other shit. So, everything got changed, all this other shit, you know what I'm saying? But for my eighth grade year, it was alright and shit, you know what I'm saying? But it was like, you know, it was just like it was interesting because a lot of stuff happened, you know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff happened and shit, and people left and all that other shit. This is the story that I was told, but I believe around this time I stumbled across Charles porn. And I think what ended up happening was when that got discovered, teachers and students made up this lie in order to depart from the school because of what happened to me and shit. That's what I think. You know what I mean? But anyway, you know what I'm saying? On with the upward, you know what I'm saying? On to the eighth grade. What ended up happening was I'm there and shit, you know what I'm saying? And I ended up sent by this Mexican. Well, she's not even Mexican. She's some other shit, but she looks Mexican and shit like that. She's Hispanic, you know what I'm saying? I think she does have Mexican descent in her or some shit. I forgot what the fuck race she was, but she was Hispanic. You know what I'm saying? I know that much, right? I ended up sent by her and shit. She was cool and shit, you know what I'm saying? This is a girl I tried to get at and shit, because I felt bad, right? I felt bad the year and shit because I got this girl to like me somehow. You know what I'm saying? I got her to like me because it was Valentine's Day, right? There was these little candies and shit. And I'm giving her a candy that said "Be mine." You know what I'm saying? And then once I gave her that candy, she started to like me and try to let me get her attention, try to get my attention with her and shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was kind of like I was so, like I said, at this time, I didn't, you know, become accustomed. Like I wasn't like ready, like wasn't mature enough to take on that role as far as like I'm not, you know, she didn't really turn me on. You know what I'm saying? All this other shit. I wasn't interested in her. I wasn't really interested in women at this time. You know what I'm saying? So I just didn't look at it from that perspective and shit. Could have got her and shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, I could have easily got her and shit. All that other shit. She was, you know what I'm saying? I mean, she was alright and shit. You know what I mean? But it was like, you know what I mean? I feel bad because I kind of feel like I curved her and shit. So I reached out to her, but then I realized, this might have been like my best opportunity as getting a girlfriend. Cause even though I didn't, go at girls, I still had the mindset of, man, what I'm saying, I do want a girlfriend one day. You know what I'm saying? So missed opportunity. So I ended up reaching out to her and shit. Bitch didn't want to fuck with me and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh my goodness. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is that? You know what I mean? But she ended up, not going through with it and shit. You know what I'm saying? I was testing her on Facebook or some shit, and she didn't, you know, want to connect with me. So I'm like, oh, okay. Then I tried to follow her on Instagram or some shit. She didn't want to accept my request and shit. I tried to reconnect with this girl. She didn't want to do it. I missed out on an opportunity back. You know what I'm saying? When we was in school and shit, I could have connected with her, but that shit didn't work because at this time I just wasn't. I didn't realize what I had until it was officially gone when she left the school. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, man, this was a good missed opportunity. I could have had like a potential girlfriend. I could have been meeting outside of school and shit. Missed out on that. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Um, she was probably the only girl at that school I had interest in. You know what I'm saying? All the other girls, I just didn't look at them in that light. Like there was other girls there that was nice. There was girls that knew anime there. The principal's daughter, they knew anime. The girl I sat by seventh grade year, she knew anime and shit. That we talked this shit. I talked to them and shit. I just didn't look at them sexually. You know what I'm saying? I didn't look at them, and I'm pretty sure they didn't look at me sexually and shit. But you know what I'm saying? It was like everything kind of just went how it went and shit. You know what I'm saying? So all the girls there, I never really talked to a lot of girls there on a day to day basis. It'll be like an every now and then thing, probably like a 3 times a week. I'll chat with some hoes or some shit, but that's really about it. It wasn't like a consistent thing. I'm more so to talk to the guys. Like I had my own little group of guys I would talk to. I was normally talking to the guy with the big family, right? But once they left, I was talking to the guy with the long hair and shit. I was talking to him and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, like me and this guy was clicking and shit. We was having some good ass conversations. Like we was talking about everything. You know what I'm saying? We was talking about sports to life to social media to music to video games. We was talking about a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? So we had shit in common and shit. He was a baseball player and shit and a football player, right? But I think what I'm saying, on the surface he's a better baseball player than a football player. He broke his hand in football. You know what I'm saying? He broke his hand and shit. And once he did that shit, he was out and shit. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, right? You know what I mean? But he could do basketball too, you know what I'm saying? All that other shit. It was all cool and shit, you know what I'm saying? He was nice to talk to and shit, you know what I mean? But and he would always tell me about his life and shit. He was a nice ass person, man. Solid guy, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, me and him, you know what I'm saying, we kind of grew apart the ninth grade year. The ninth grade year, I grew apart from everybody. The ninth grade year, I'm like, it's time for me to go, you know what I'm saying? It's time for me to go and shit. Like, I feel like I don't belong here and shit like that. Like, it got bad. We stopped getting taught and stuff. I feel like I stopped getting learned shit. You know what I mean? I feel like I stopped learning and I felt like it was time for me to leave. When you feel like you don't belong somewhere, you get that feeling and shit. So that's what ended up happening and shit. But to finish off eighth grade year, there was this other teacher that ended up getting fired. Right? She got fired. I don't know why she got fired. This other teacher got fired or some shit. Eighth grade year was just hectic. It felt like the school was coming to an end. Right? But they still try to bring it life. Ninth grade year, we end up moving to a new building. You know what I'm saying? All that other shit. We got a new teacher and shit, all that other shit. But it was kind of like it didn't really go well and shit. It didn't really go well and shit. You know what I'm saying? Shit didn't really concur well and shit. You know what I mean? And I ended up moving and shit. And the school eventually shut down and shit. Anyway, let me get into a few more moments at the school if I can remember and shit. We went on a field trip on the school one time too. I forgot where I ended up going. I think I went. I don't remember where I went, but I did go on a field trip on the school and shit. I don't even remember that shit. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Good moments there and shit. We used to play like this game called Sharks and Minnows. Sharks and Minnows was a nice game to play and shit. I like that game. We used to play that shit. That shit was it right there. That shit was cool. I like that game right there. That was a nice game to play and shit. We did Sharks and Minnows to football to basketball and shit. Nice little shit. You know what I'm saying? Um, we had good moments and shit, you know what I'm saying? There was a bunch of different other guys there. I didn't really get into mission to everybody. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, I was generally cool with everybody. I just mentioned more key people that were a little bit more of importance to me in this video. But I'm not gonna mention everybody in the goddamn school. I'm just mentioning more key people that or of more importance versus the other people to me. You know what I'm saying? But I was cool with everybody in the school and shit. Didn't have a problem with no one. You know what I'm saying? Um, and yeah, you know what I'm saying? So this video's at 30 minutes, you know what I'm saying? So that's about the end of this video and shit, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to make this video too long and shit. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video and shit. But all in all, this school was nice and shit. It taught me well and shit. I got along well with everybody. I had good moments there and shit. Laughed well with the guys and shit, you know what I'm saying? We got along. We even got each other Christmas gifts one time. We got each other Christmas gifts, you know what I'm saying? That was nice. Like, that was nice as fuck, you know what I'm saying? I got the most gifts, right? Which is interesting, right? But we all brought each other Christmas gifts and shit. Like we was okay and shit, you know what I'm saying? We was okay and shit. Like we was solid and shit, you know what I mean? Like good times and shit. Good times and shit, you know what I mean? But there was also bad times and shit. And I get in trouble for no reason and shit like that. And again, that in school suspension shit. Got suspended inside the school and shit. That shit happened to me before I got put in a room or some shit. I simply got in trouble just for talking too much. That's all I got in trouble for. I was just talk too much. I was bored and shit. I was a little bit of a class clown and shit. I got in trouble for simply just talking too much. And I'm getting that ISS. All that other shit, that's what ended up happening to me and so shit. Like I said, I was the second funniest person there after the guy with the big family. I was the second funniest person there and shit. So, you know, that's how it went and shit, you know what I'm saying? But everything went well. I got along well with everybody and shit. Everything was cool and shit, you know what I'm saying? Didn't have a problem with no one except the teachers. But that's the end of this video, you know what I'm saying? This video's long enough, you know, so I hope y'all like this video and shit. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.